Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a bracelet today using some of the beads that came in the most recent Potomac Beads Treasure Edition subscription box. I'll post a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below that will take you to the unboxing that I did for this box in case you didn't see it, where I go into a little bit more detail about the subscription and the beads and everything. But they have this subscription box. They also have a kit edition of their subscription. They have two subscriptions, this one and a kit edition. The kit, I think it comes with 3 projects every month and all the beads and everything you need to make whatever the piece of jewelry is. And it comes with written instructions, and I think there's always a video tutorial that they put out on their channel if you'd rather go by that to make it. They have a ton of videos on their channel. You can learn any kind of beading you want to, stringing, wire working, macrame, bead weaving, anything you want to do. They have a video for it. They have thousands of videos on their channel. I'll also post in the description box below a link that will take you directly to the subscription page of their website, so you can look and see about the different subscriptions and all if you want to do that. I'm using the 4mm Bicones that came in the box. The color was indica light, which I'm certain I'm still pronouncing wrong, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just a real pretty blue. And I'm using the 8/0s that came in the box. They're Miyuki seafoam lined crystal. And I'm using some 8/0s that I had in my stash. These are opaque turquoise luster, and it's like a blue turquoise. And then I have my 11/0s and 15/0s in galvanized silver that I'm going to be using. These are Miyuki. And then I have a toggle clasp, a couple of jump rings, and a couple of wire guardians. I have my 8-pound fire line and smoke. I have 2 size 11 tulip beading needles. I'm only going to be using one, but I always have an extra in case I lose one or if I want to add thread. And I've already got my needle threaded with a stop bead on it. I've got my chain nose pliers and my bent chain nose pliers. I use the chain nose pliers to flatten my thread so I can get it through the needle, and then I'll be using both these when I put my clasp on at the end. And then I have my scissors that I'm going to cut my fire line with. I think that's everything. I'll leave links to as many things as I can find links for in the description box below of all the stuff I'm using. So hold on, and I'm going to change this bead mat because it's blue and my beads are blue, and I don't think that will, you might not be able to see it very well, so I'm going to switch my bead mat and get some of my beads poured out, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads poured out here now, and I changed my bead mat out, hoping you can see this better. This is going to be a herringbone bracelet, a flat herringbone bracelet, and I will post a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the first flat herringbone bracelet that I did, where I will probably go in more detail than I will today about how you do herringbone. But I wanted to use these 8/0s that came in the box because they're so pretty, but they're really shiny, and I wanted to contrast them against a not so shiny bead. So that's why I'm using some of these out of my stash. So I'm going to start with ladder stitch. I'm going to pick up 2 of the seafoam 8/0s and 2 of my blue turquoise 8/0s. Bring them all the way down here to my stop bead, and I'm not leaving much of a tail at all because I'm going to try to go ahead and sew my wire guardian on this end right away and get my stop bead out of the way and get that part done, because sometimes it's hard to get back through these beads when you reinforce them as much as I'm going to in this first row. I don't know if it'll be any easier doing it this way, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to go back through the first 2, those first 2 seafoam ones I put on, and that's going to bring the 2 turquoise ones next to the 2 seafoam ones. And now I'm just going to reinforce. I'm going to go back down these. And back up the 2 seafoam ones. And back down the 2 turquoise ones. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more of my turquoise ones. And I'm coming out the bottom of these 2. I'm going to go on the top of these 2. Back up the 2 new ones that I just added. And back down these 2. I think I might have reinforced that more than I meant to, but okay, now I'm going to pick up 2 more of my turquoise 8-ohs. I'm coming up the top of these 2. I'm going to go on the bottom. I'm going to go back down these 2 that I just added. Back up the previous 2. Back down the 2 I just added. I'm going to have 6 sets of 2, and my outer ones are going to be my seafoam, and my 4 inner ones are going to be my turquoise. So I'll pick up 2 more turquoise, go down, coming out the bottom, I'm going to go down the top. I'm going to go back up the 2 I just put on. Back down the previous 2. Back up the 2 I just put on. Now that's 5, so I need 2 more, and I'm going to do my 2 seafoam on the outside here. I'll pick up 2 seafoam. Coming out the top, I'm going to go on the bottom. Go back down the 2 new ones that I just put on. Back up the previous 2. And back down the 2 new ones that I just put on. So now I'm going to get ready to put my wire guardian on, and I'm going to reposition my camera because it seems to be not in the right position. So hold on. Okay, now I'm going to put my wire guardian on, and my thread is coming out the same side that my stop bead thread is coming out. I'm going to work my way over here until I'm coming out this 3rd row of 8-ohs, because I'm going to attach my clasp to the 3rd and 4th row. So I'm going to go down these 2. I'm going to go up these 2. Now I'm going to pick up, I think 3, maybe 2 11-ohs, and one of my seafoam 8-ohs, and my wire guardian. I'm going to go through my wire guardian, 1 channel of my wire guardian. And I'm going to squish my little wire guardian in a little bit. Very gently, because it's easy to destroy these little wire guardians. Now I'm going to go back down the other channel of my wire guardian. Back down my 8-oh. I'm going to hold my finger over the wire guardian so that my thread will land in that channel there. A little channel at the top of the wire guardian. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-ohs. And I'll go down the next set of 8-ohs. that's what I've got now. Now I'm going to go back up these two, this other set of 8/0s here. Now I'm going to go back up these two 8/0s. Back up my these two 11/0s and back up my 8/0 and back up one side of my wire guardian. You don't have to do it all at once. It just so happened that it all went up there at once for me that time. Now I'm going to go back down the other channel, back down my 8/0, hold my finger over it so the thread will fall in the channel. Now I'm going to go back down the other set of 11/0s and back down those two 8/0s and underneath it there. Now I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go back up this set of 8/0s next to the one I'm coming out. Go back up these two 11/0s. I'll go back up my 8/0 here. Go back up my wire guardian. I'll go back down the other side of my wire guardian and back into my 8/0. Hold my finger over the wire guardian so it'll land in the channel there. Back down these two 11/0s and back down into the 8/0s right in under those two 11/0s. So I got my wire guard on my first end here. Now I'm going to sew over here until I'm coming out this side, the edge of this side of my piece here. Like that. Now I've sewed through this enough that this thread that's got my stop bead on it's not going to come out, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. So that's what I've got so far. So now I'm going to get ready to start my herringbone here. Okay, so now I'm going to start my herringbone, and I'm going to do 4 rows. I've already got 2. I'm going to do 2 more rows before I start adding in my bicones. This is going to be a little different than the herringbone we've done before because I'm going to be adding some bicones down the middle. So I want the same beads on top of my beads here that I want the same beads on top of the same beads. So I'm going to pick up a seafoam and one of my turquoise beads here. I'm going to go down this turquoise bead, pull my thread through, make sure my beads land with the holes facing up. Then I'm going to go up this next turquoise bead, my next 2 beads in line are both turquoise, so I'm going to pick up 2 turquoise, and I've got some beads over here to the side that I'm picking beads up from so that I don't have to keep reaching across the screen in front of you all. Now I'm coming out the top of this turquoise bead. I'm going to go into the top of this turquoise bead, pull my thread through, make my beads sit with their holes facing up. Now I'm going to go up this turquoise bead, okay. Now I've got a turquoise and a seafoam, so I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam, and And I'm going to come out the top of this turquoise. I'm going to go into the top of this seafoam. Make my beads sit with their holes facing up. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0 here to decorate up the side of my piece and hide my thread. You don't have to use an 11/0 here. You can, if you just go straight up in there, there'll be a little thread showing, but against these beads you probably wouldn't be able to see it. Or you could use a couple of 15/0s, just whatever you want to. I'm going to use one 11/0. I'm coming out the bottom of this second seafoam bead here. I want to go into the bottom of this top one to get in position to make my next stitch. Okay, so now I've got a seafoam and a turquoise. So I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Coming out the top of the seafoam, we'll go into the top of this turquoise. Pull my thread through. Make my beads sit with their holes facing up. Now I'm going to go up into this next bead, which is my turquoise. Now my next two beads are two turquoise, so I'm going to pick up two turquoise. Coming out the top of this turquoise, I'm going to go into the top of this turquoise. Now I'm going to go into the next, up the next bead, which is a turquoise. And my next two beads are a turquoise and a seafoam, so I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. And I like to switch it before I do this last stitch because it's easier. I can get better tension on it if I pull into the right. So I'm going to come out of the top of this turquoise, I'm going to go into the top of this seafoam. Make sure my beads sit with their holes facing up. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0 and go into the bottom of this seafoam up at the top here. Now I've got 4 rows done, so now I'm going to start my next round is going to be in preparation to add my bicones. So I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to get some of my bicones and my 15/0s out, so I'll be back. Okay, now I'm going to get ready to add my bicones. So I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go from the top of this seafoam into the top of this turquoise, just like we've been doing. Make sure my beads fall like they're supposed to. Now I'm going to go up into the next bead, which is this turquoise. Now instead of putting 2 turquoise here, I'm just going to go down this turquoise with my needle. And then up this turquoise with my needle. I'm making a little space there to put my bicone in. Now I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. I'm going to flip it around so I can pull to the right. I'm going to go from the top of this turquoise into the top of this seafoam. Make sure my beads sit the way they're supposed to. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0 and go from this seafoam up through the bottom of this seafoam. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go from the top of this seafoam down into this turquoise. Make sure my beads sit the way I want them to there. Now I'm going to pick up a 15/0 and one of my bicones and a 15/0. And I'm going to go from the bottom of this turquoise over up into the bottom of this turquoise and put my bicone in that little space there. Like that. Now I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. Flip my work around so I can pull to the right. I'll go from the top of this turquoise into the top of this seafoam. Pull my thread through. When you're doing herringbone, you want to try to keep good tension and pull pretty tight, because herringbone is bad. It's about seeing threads. It's a thready stitch, so you're going to see thread, but if you keep good tension on it and pull pretty tight, that'll reduce the amount of thread that you see. So now I'm going to pick up an 11/0. I'm going to go from this seafoam up through the bottom of this seafoam. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go from the top of this seafoam into the top of this turquoise. If you hold your fingers over your beads as you're pulling it through there, it helps too. Now here I'm going to pick up just one 11/0, and I'm going to go back through that bicone. I mean 15/0, that's 15/0. Now I'm going to pick up another 15/0, and I'm going to go up into this turquoise bead here. That puts your little bicone in there with two 15/0s on each side of it. Now I'm going to do a turquoise and a seafoam. I'll turn this around so I can pull to the right. I'll go from the top of this turquoise into the top of this seafoam. Make sure my beads lay the way I want to, and pull my thread tight. Now I'll pick up an 11/0 and go up through the bottom of this seafoam bead. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go from the top of this seafoam to the top of this turquoise. Pull my thread through. Arrange it toward the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to add another bicone. I'm going to pick up my 15/0, a bicone, and a 15/0. And I'm going to go from this turquoise, bottom of this turquoise, up into the bottom of this turquoise. Put my little bicone in there like that. Now I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. Flip my piece around so I can pull to the right. I'm going to go down the top of this seafoam. Arrange my beads. Pull my thread tight. Pick up an 11/0. Go up through the bottom of this seafoam bead. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go from the top of this seafoam into the top of this turquoise. And here's where I need to put another 15/0 on this side of this bicone. And if you forget where you are, all you have to do is look and see whether or not you got two 15/0s at the top and the bottom of both bicones. Like if I got up and walked away and come back, I would see that this bicone only has one 15/0 on each side of it. So I know this is where I put a 15/0 in here. So I'll pick up a 15/0. Go through the bicone. Pick up another 15/0. And go up this 8/0 here. That puts two 15/0s on each side of my bicone. Now I'm going to flip it over before I do this last stitch. I'll pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. Go down the top of this seafoam. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0. Go up through the bottom of this seafoam. pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go down the top of this turquoise. Hold my finger over it so my beads will stay good and tight and not get loose. Now I know this is where I have to add a bicone because both these bicones have two 15-0s at the top and the bottom, so it's time to add another bicone. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and a bicone and a 15-0 and go from this 8-0 I'm coming out the bottom of over here to the bottom of this 8-0. Pull it through. And I'll flip it around so I can do this last stitch. Pick up a turquoise and a seafoam and go into the top of this seafoam. Arrange my beads. Pull my thread tight. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I go up into the top, through the bottom of this seafoam. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go into the top of this turquoise. Arrange my beads. Pull my thread tight. Now I know I just need a 15-0 here because I only have one 15-0 on both sides of this bicone. So I need a 15-0 here. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0. Go through the bicone. Pick up a 15-0 and go up this 8-0. So that puts two 15-0s on top of my bicone there, top and bottom. So I'll flip it around so I can do this last stitch. Pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. Go down the top of this seafoam. Arrange my beads and pull my thread tight. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and go up through the seafoam bead. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I get the length that I want. Minus, I'm going to do, at the other end, I'm going to do 4 rows without the bicones like I have here. So I'm going to figure out how much room I want to leave and allow for the length, how much room my clasp is going to take up and all that. So when I get to the end, before I do these last 4, I'll come back. Okay, I've got the length that I want. Now I'm going to add on one more bicone. And before I forget, I think I forgot the last time I did a bead weaving project. I said I was going to start keeping up with how much thread it takes. And I don't think I kept up with it last time, but I forgot to say in the video. But I'm keeping up with it, and if I forget to say before the end of the video, I'll put it in the description box below. Well, I'll put it in the description box either way, but I'll try to remember to say before the end of the video. So I've got a seafoam and a turquoise. I'm going down into the turquoise. Pick up a 15-0, a bicone, and a 15-0. I'm going to go up into this turquoise. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to pick up a turquoise and a seafoam and go down into the seafoam. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, go up into the seafoam. I think I might need to get one more 15-0 out here. Okay, now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise, go down into the turquoise. Pick up a 15-0, go into the bicone. Pick up another 15-0, go up into the turquoise. Pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to go down into the seafoam. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and go up into this seafoam. Now I'm going to make this end look like this end. I'm going to do 4 rows without any bicone. So I need to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go down into the turquoise. And now I'm going to pick up 2 turquoise and ladder stitch them onto these 2 turquoise. Go back up into the 2 I just added. Back down into the previous 2. Back up the new 2. I'll pick up 2 more turquoise. Coming out of the top, I'm going to go on the bottom. Then come back down the 2 I just added. And go back up the previous 2. Back down the new 2. Now I'm going to connect. I'm going to go from the bottom of the 2 I'm coming out into the bottom of this 1. Then I'm going to pick up a turquoise and I'm going to go into these 2. This is going to even this side out with the other side. Then I'm going to go back up these 2. Back down these previous 2. Back up these 2. I'm going to pick up a seafoam. I'll go down into this seafoam. Back up these 2 turquoise. Back down these 2 seafoam. So that makes this end the same as this end. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0, go up into this seafoam, and now I'm going to do 2 more rows. I'm going to do a seafoam and an 11-0. Go down into this 11-0. Go up this turquoise. I mean a seafoam and a turquoise. I think I said a seafoam and an 11-0. 2 turquoise. Go down into this turquoise. Into this turquoise. Now I'm going to do a turquoise and a seafoam. Go down and I'm going to flip it around so I can pull to the right. And I'm going to go down into this seafoam. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. Go up into this seafoam. Now I'm going to pick up a seafoam and a turquoise. Go down into the turquoise. Go up into this turquoise. Pick up 2 turquoise. Go down into this turquoise. Up into this turquoise. Pick up a turquoise and a seafoam. Flip it around, go into this seafoam. Okay, I've dropped my seafoam off my needle or something. Pick up a turquoise and a seafoam and keep it on my needle. That turquoise is awful skinny. I'm going to get another one. Turquoise and a seafoam. Go down into the seafoam. Pick up an 11-0. Go up into this seafoam. And now I'm going to connect these last ones together because they're not connected together. So I'm going to go down into these two. Go up into these two. Back down into these two. Back up into these two. Down into these two. Up into these two. Back down into these two. Up into these two. Now I need to move my thread around until I'm coming out this third one and this fourth one to sew on my clasp like I did the other side. So I'm going to go down these two. I'm going to go up this one. And then I'm going to go up this third one here. Which is where I need to be coming out to sew on my clasp. My needle does not want to go up through there because it's got quite a bit of thread through it where I ladder stitched it together. Okay, now I'm just going to put my clasp on this side, or my wire guard on this side, just like I did on this side. And then I'll come back and we'll put the clasp on. Okay, now I've got both sides of my wire guardians on. All I gotta do now is put my clasp on. So I got a couple of 6mm jump rings here. Open them. Put one side of my clasp on. Put the other side of my clasp on. Somehow I knew that was going to happen. You all would have thought I was an imposter if I didn't drop something before the end of this video. Okay, there we go. There's a little herringbone bracelet with bicones down the middle. Hold on, I'll get some of my beads poured up, cleaned up, and I'll be back. Okay, there we go. A little herringbone bracelet with bicones down the center, made with some of the beads we got in the latest Potomac Beads Treasure Edition subscription box. Like I said, I'll leave the link to the page to sign up for the subscription in the description box below in case you want to check it out. Oh, and I almost forgot. I used about 10 feet of thread for this. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, hope y'all have a great day. Take care.